Welcome back to Basket Case Builds. We're again working on the Navara, the D22. It's an 04 model. This is the DX model, which means it's bottom of the range. So interior wise it's very limited. It has bench seat, manual window winders, no center console. Yeah, very basic machine. We're going to try and upgrade it to what we call here in Australia the STR, which is your, I guess it's nearly top of the range, I'm not 100% sure, but they had bucket seats, a center console, the handbrake was in the center console, where my handbrake is just over there. You pull out from the dash with it. Yes, apparently you can do it. We're going to attempt to do it. And the only downfall people say is that you lose some leg room due to the fact of how the bucket seats are positioned. Apparently doesn't affect me. I'm not the tallest dude in the world in the leg department, but all right, let's go and see what we've got. Well, here's my $200 investment. Apart from the vacuum cleaner, we have a center console, the fascia for the console, also a handbrake lever because that fits in the console on this, passenger and a driver's seat, and in the ice cream containers just odds and ends, bracketry, bolts. We're going to give these a clean. We're going to give them a steam clean with a pet vac. Just going to use a concentrate Vax fluid, and I'm going to do a little different to what Vax recommend. They recommend to put a couple of capfuls inside the unit with the hot water when you set it up. I'm just going to put hot water in the machine and then spray this on the fabric and get a scrubbing brush onto it. I've done a bit of research and that seems to work better than putting the solution inside the machine. We'll give it a crack. First things first, we'll blow both seats off with compressed air, just get rid of all the loose material and dust. Alright, here's a bit of a close-up of what was in the container. That's just your gear stick boot covers, and that's what that clips into. It's your handbrake lever and cable. I'm hoping that this cable assembly will already have in the cab a blanked off plate where it will go out and bolt in there. We're going to find out. That's covers for the front of the foot of the seat. Obviously gear lever rubbers, that goes over the transmission tunnel, and odds and ends and brackets. It's a bit rough looking, but that bench seat is shot and it's like sitting on concrete. It's that hard on your backside. Let's go. This is a product just called Steamy. It's a carpet extraction shampoo. It's concentrate. Basically, this is what came with my pet vac when it was new. That's half a litre. That's empty. So what I do now is we purchase this. It lasts a long time. This will be years old. This stuff. I put in 100 ml of this fluid, of the concentrate, into half a litre, which that bottle is, and fill the rest with water. Then I get 2 capfuls of this, which is your concentrate mixed up, into that, and fill it up with water. I then spray this onto the fabric, and the hot water out of the machine works together. This one takes 4 litres, so just there, fill the water up to there. Normally, instructions say to put a couple of capfuls of solution in there, but we're going to spray it directly on the fabric. Okay, this seat would be the worst. That looks kind of like oil to me, but anyway, we'll see how it goes. Just got my spray and my scrubber. I'll give it a go. All right, this is what's left. It's after the first seat. All right, this is the final product. It's still wet. Just got it sitting out in the sun for now. I'm pretty sure you're going to still see that stain, but it's a lot more manageable and cosmetically better looking. Got some rubbish and stuff left from previous owner, obviously. Still got the factory jack and tooling. That's a good thing. We're going to get rid of this gearbox boot cover here. This one here. The new old STR assembly is different. That'll fit over there with a different cover, so let's rip that off. got a couple of good things come out of this so far. Our park brake assembly, the new one that we need here to go in our center console, it's going to fit. We need to take 5 bolts out, that cover off, and these bolt holes all line up straight in. Cable will go through the hole down to the other adjoining cables for the rear park brake. This one, I think it's these two or these, so I can't remember which one it is, but they line up good for the center console. I need to remove this and fit, it's this one? Yes, this one. And that'll allow for our console to go over and mount our gear sticks over top of the gear sticks. So everything's looking good. The only thing I forgot to get was the blank off for the firewall, where this handbrake here for the poverty pack version exits the vehicle out the front of the firewall. So I failed there. I'll have to go back to the wrecker and see if he's still got that car, or find another one. Anyway, there's a blanking plate because it would be horribly noisy if I pull that out and I don't put any kind of plate over the hole. Anyway, what we'll do next is we'll pull the front floor out and give it a good vacuum. I don't normally buy a vehicle that's been in the sand, but I couldn't find any sand, and now I'm finding sand everywhere. I couldn't find sand when I looked at the car. She's been on the beach, but given that, I haven't found any rust yet, so let's do it. Just to make myself clear and to sort of help anyone out that's doing this, this part here is from the donor vehicle. It was a V6 petrol. This part here is from the donor vehicle, the rusty coloured looking bracket, but the rubber seal that seals the gearbox sticks from the elements, that's the original one that came off the vehicle. You can't use this one here due to the fact that this is not central enough this way. The V6 box is obviously different, but it all fits up, no drilling anything, the holes line up. We're looking good so far. I want to get this leak sorted that's down there, so it's either a windscreen, like I said, or it's some other drama. Tomorrow I'll get someone to hit the front of the car with water while I've got all the doors shut, and I'll sit inside and have a look and see what's happening. But so far so good. I'm pretty happy so far about what we've got, and everything seems to be lining up. So alright, catch you tomorrow. Alright, we're back at the DX Navara bench seat upgrade, where we're putting the STR seats, 2 bucket seats and a center console in. And I've done a few more measurements off camera and everything's there. No drilling, nothing required. It's just plate removal, fitting stuff up, removal of the old handbrake, and fitting the new style handbrake, which will go down, you can see there under that plate. Alright, we've got a newly painted bracketry that will fit over here. Actually, I'll go this way to hold our center console. We've repaired a leak that we had on this passenger side. It was a bonnet release cable. Rubber grommet had pulled itself into the cab when someone had threaded extra wiring loom through that grommet, and the water just ran down the firewall and through the hole. So planning on getting this secured and this back in here, and the floor in, probably the floor in before this one. But it's all lining up like it should. I think this is going to work a treat. Let's do it. Now, due to the fact that this floor is not designed for a console, we're going to have to trim the vinyl. That's okay, it's no dramas. I need to cut these two holes here are for the front mounts. I need to cut, well, you can actually see it. It's kind of set up for it actually. It's got two dots that are pressed down into material. So we'll just join that up like that. 2 dots there and 2 dots there. You probably find there's more hiding in the there's a dot there, so maybe they just cut back to that level. Just to give you an example of what I'm talking about with these dots, you can see 3 dots, 1, 2, 3. On the bench seat, it only ever had 2 mount points at the front there, and exactly the opposite right over the other side on the passenger side. So if you have a look, on the bench seat, STR seats, it's 2 holes. The holes are there, so are the dots. So all I'm going to do is go around and cut around the dots in a bit of a circular fashion. And if you have a look, that's all they've done. There's a dot right there, and there's the other dot. So the machine, or when they manufacture them, or the person operating the machine, just line the dots. So we're just going to go in a circular fashion around that. There's dots there too. Must uncover something, I don't know. Yeah, it's probably STR. What, I don't know, but it doesn't suit this car. If you look up here, there's 4 dots. I'm kind of wondering what is that for. And if I stick my hands in the right position, there, just there on that 4th dot is where the other hole that I need for the bucket seat. It's never been used. So that is the other marking for the hole. So it's all here. Let's see if we can put this back in. Now, I think I'm going to pull out this here insulation, just because this doesn't handle it, eh? It doesn't really, it rides up way too high, and you're trying to compress across here. I can probably get it to fit, but it's going to bulge these sides out. Let's get the let's get all the screws in first before we get too excited. And I'm going to have to take it out anyway because there's a bracket that comes up here. It's going to go about there. I'll have to go and paint this. Can't leave it rusty, can I? Alright, so you're coming out. We're going to get this park brake assembly in today, and also we'll finish off screwing this down and getting this front cluster back on. Good thing about this whole Nissan thing is when I got it, the wire was cut off for the park brake switch, but they already come pre-wired for an STR fit out, so that there is the park brake switch wire to make the light in the dash come on, so it's an easy conversion. So I'll just take this one off and we'll put this wire on. Let's go. can see here, I just used the old seatbelt lash and buckle attachment points, and I've just put the bolts back in there with the spacer just to fill the hole, and that left that open. You saw me, I took the cover off. It's all cut back, fitting pretty good. Let's give it a clean up and back to it. Alright, as you've just seen, we put the car on the hoist in the shed. We're up to the last phase of our bench seat to bucket seat conversion in the DX Navara. Now this cable that's hanging foul is the cable for the centre handbrake lever assembly. That goes back up, follow my finger, into the middle of the floor of the vehicle. That's what we put in where our center console is, and this fellow just here on this cable that runs to here and then to this adjustment bracket, that cable there which runs back that way. This one here is the actual handbrake for the pull style. So it's pretty simple. The hardest bit's actually removing all of the old cable assembly, because it runs all the way back up under the car into the firewall and obviously onto the handle. This fellow, all it does is bolt. This bolt here just goes straight into that position, that cable goes, and you're done. So let's give it a go. Alright, this is the cable assembled, bolted in up hard against the bracket, and that's obviously the goes up into the floor. If you look in there, this is the next phase. You can see there's the cable, and this is the lever. Onto another cable which goes back to here, then disappears all the way up into the firewall. So I'm going to rip that out and I'll show you when I get it out. It's nothing exciting, you're just removing redundant cables. Alright, we're back in the daylight, finally finished, except for one's moulding there I've got to put on the strip, but I'm dealing with electrical issue at the moment, so that's just staying off for the minute. But yeah, it all fits, no dramas. The park brake is hooked up. We just have to work on getting this fella out here. It's the only thing left to do. Everything's in there, console needs work. It's a second-hand thing. The clips are broken off that hold it in place, but And I need to do something with this stripping around here. A lot of the clips are broken off it. Possibly a whole new front section. It's got lots of drill holes. But this is only a work ute. So it does work. Does fit. I think I've said it before. You lose leg room though, compared to a bench seat. Doesn't worry me, as not real tall in the leg department. Alright, to get that other park brake assembly out, we have to remove that nut and that nut there. That's your cable that leads out to it. Goes down there. I showed you before underneath the clips and the cantilever and stuff like that you had to take out. So we take those two off. It takes a whole sub-assembly out. Which is, the start of it is there, leads down underneath to this unit here, and then it goes, those two welded studs are the standoffs for the nuts on the other side of the firewall. Take those two out, and there's possibly something else, or maybe not. I'm not sure yet, but I'd say there's something else up in here. We'll have a look as we go. You can see this is the assembly we took out. It's only 4 bolts. Obviously the two that poke through the firewall, and that bolts onto that. And there's 2 here, one here and one here. 2 bolts. They're horrible to get at. You need a specific spanner, or I should say specific length of ratchet and swivel head. So here I have something in the realms of 30, say 400 mil in old world terminology. 16 inches. It's a 12 mil socket, and that's just a swivel that I've wrapped in tape because the swivel's worn out. Makes the swivel stay where you want to point it like that instead of just flopping down. That's a bolt there and there, and that's the hole you create when you pull it out. That's the 2 bolt holes way up there, and that's the wiring for the park brake light. Just pull it out and let it hang there. It's going to do nothing. It's not going to earth out and create the light to come on or anything. So because I wasn't smart enough to get the blanking plate out of the wrecked car, and so now it just now has been squashed, I'm going to have to do a little bit of fabricating. Now to get to that, to get this to go into the position for the 2 bolts way up there, you need to take that lower dash panel off. Only 3 screws. It goes around the, technically it's that way, it goes around the steering column. You have to point, this has to go between there and there. So that's the cross vent running from the center through to the right vent. You need to push it in through there, because if you don't, you can't get onto it directly from underneath. The camera makes it look like you can, but you can't. So, bit of a battle, but we're going to fabricate a blank plate, all I'm going to do is cut this off here. That'll go inside the vehicle. These will poke out where they poked out before. This has got like a foam rubber seal on it. So I'm going to cut the cable off, pull it out, crimp the end and weld it up. And that's sealed then. It's just to stop water getting in and wind noise when you're travelling down the road. Alright, I've squashed the end. You can see I've cold soldered the end up to stop wind noise. We're just going to hit it with some paint. Alright, see there, the blanking plate's done. It's bolted back in. Nut there and a nut below it. And it just tapers off down to where I crushed it and welded it, or soldered it up. It just screwed itself back onto the old, what would have been the handbrake mount. Up there. Doesn't matter that that's left open. Up there, because the other end's crimped over. The big idea of crimping it and cold soldering it was to stop wind noise. Ants, bugs, spiders shooting up and into your cabin. So that's all good. Nice and tight, all done. Just need to install this. The only thing you're going to tell that this was this style handbrake is that cover has that slot in it. Pretty sure you'd find the other one, the STR version, probably doesn't even have that in there, or they have a blank you can clip in there, but I can live with that. It's sort of below eye level anyway. Thanks for watching Basket Case Builds. Here's a couple of photos of the wrecked vehicle that I took both seats, center console, the front cover assembly for the gear sticks out of. It's a bit rough, but it's okay. For the $200, I think it's fine, and it's a lot better than sitting on that horrible bench seat. I used all the nuts and bolts and stuff out of the wrecked vehicle to install these seats that you see now, and I think it's turned out quite well. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and also hit the notification bell. Thanks for watching. Catch up soon.